My name is ezarago, aka Z, aka Mr. Z, aka Get Off My Lawn, or I'm going to call the police. Um, Today we're going to do a gentle digital illustration, something very relaxing, calming. The program I'll be using is Rebelle 3. It simulates various types of painting, like watercolor, acrylic, and it's pretty sophisticated actually. Um, so I enjoy drawing in the anime and manga style. And today, just I don't consider this a tutorial. This is mostly just me playing around with a package. I don't think as a tutorial it'll be useful for anybody, but it should be useful for people that just want to see a speed paint, maybe so that they don't make the mistakes that I made while doing this. Um, so let's get started, and I'll talk you guys through this. You can also mute this so you don't have to listen to my voice, which I've heard can make some people's ears bleed, toddlers and stuff. So what I'm doing first on the program is laying down very, very light base colors. And if you'll notice, the colors in Rebelle 3 sort of they melt into the paper, the quote unquote the paper, as soon as you lay it down. And you're gonna see me make a lot of mistakes here. Right now I'm just laying down the skin tone, and what you'll see is every now and then little patches of blue appear while I'm painting it. And these patches of blue is actually watering, dampening the digital paper as I'm painting. So imagine you're just traditionally using paper and watercolor, and you wet the paper so that the pigment, when you brush it on, spreads evenly. Well, this program does that too. So what I'm doing is laying down this wet, like the water. That's what the blue is. And then I paint on the water, and it spreads only to that area that I want it to, that I just wet. And then when I'm done, there's a button called dry. So it dries the water that I applied. And then when I do it again, when I wet the layer again, then I just continue painting. So it's basically, this is a process of simply wetting and then painting on top of that, and then drying it, and then doing that over and over in several cycles. So this is really, I'm looking at reference while I'm doing this. I have like 2 or 3 pictures open, one on my phone, another one on a tiny little laptop that I have, and just using reference to see what the musculature is, because I don't really have that down pat. And I really do believe in reference. So reference is just crucial to me. But I'm not a stickler for accurate details. If I wanted to be super accurate in how I represent the body, I guess I would just do photography. This was really fun though, doing the back. As you'll see, I use undo Control Z a lot. Still making lots of what I consider mistakes, or sometimes I'll wet a spot and then I'll lay down the pigment, the digital pigment, and then it spreads really, really, I guess, what's a technical word? It'll spread nasty style on the layer, and I didn't feel good about that. So I undid a lot of stuff. The fingers here were really difficult to do, but I got better at it as I went along, looking at the references. At some points, the references that I had were not enough, so I had to quickly pull up some references of like, hands in the same position. And when I panicked, I just simply just took a picture of my own hand in a similar position, just so that I can get the lighting right. Um, Also, I'd like to point out that when you're doing an anime, drawing side view is really difficult. I mean, it's extremely difficult. Um, but really, I think what what helps me get better, what has helped me get better at side views, um, is realizing that the way that an anime character looks when it's facing forward is just not the way that it looks. Like when it's, when you're looking at a side view, it just looks really weird. In fact, it kind of looks like it has a snout, like anime characters have like a snout or something. It doesn't look human at all, especially the way that the mouth and the nose, they kind of angle downward, and then the lower portion of the face looks like a weird triangle looking thing. Um, so it's really just understanding what they're supposed to look like as far as anime and manga is concerned, whether it's an accurate representation or not. Um, Here I am getting into the hair, and I really liked playing around with the hair. One of the things that I've learned playing around with this program is I always start off lowering the opacity, and I believe in this program it's called loading, but in other programs it could be called pressure. It probably is called loading too, actually. So loading is how much quote unquote paint you load on a brush, and I believe there's a setting in Clip Studio Paint and programs like Art Rage, and I don't know about Photoshop because it's expensive, so fuck Photoshop. I believe it's even there in GIMP. I could be wrong, but I don't load my brushes. I have it at a very low setting, and I just keep it at one color. So as you can see, I almost never. Well, I'm working on the eye right now, but as far as the hair, I just keep it on one color, like a strong, vibrant pink, and then the loading I'll just keep at a low level. And then as I progress through the drawing, I increase the loading by like five in 5 degrees or 5 points. So I started off at like a 2, and then I went up to a 10, and I don't think I've ever went higher than a 15 because they kind of like the colors overlap each other, and it just gets really dark really fast. And I didn't want this drawing to be that dark, unless of course I'm working on the eyebrows. And when I'm working on the eyebrows and the eyelashes, I didn't want to use just a legit black. I wanted to mix in a blue, red, and a green to make black. I don't know. I just wanted it that way. So here I am going back into the hair. And again, like at this point, I've kind of given up on the reference that I was using for the lighting on the hair. I just started really experimenting. I'm not going to say that I'm a professional at lighting. So technically, I guess I am a professional artist. I animate, I think, way more than I draw. But I don't really believe in the idea of being a legit professional. I think there's professional behavior, and I think there's professional gigs, but I don't really believe in people being professional in the same way that I believe in adult responsibility, but I don't believe in the idea of like, oh, you've made it, you're an adult now. So as far as like professional, I wouldn't say that. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is because as I'm drawing, I like to go on. I like to still be creative. The process of art is really experimenting. Um, the process of art is trying to find new ways to do things and looking at the world. Um, and when I think of the word professional, I don't think of someone that's experimenting. I think of someone that does something quote unquote right. Um, and right now at this point, I'm not doing things right. I'm going in and I'm thinking this feels like it should be darker. This feels like it should be lighter. And whenever I draw anything, I'm typical. I'm an artist. I'm pretty needy, and I love praise. I love to hear what people think. So as I'm drawing this, I'm giving, I'm showing previews to a few of my friends, a few of my peers, a few of my pupils, I guess. And some of them are being pretty too overly strict. They're looking at it going, that's wrong, or the lighting is off, or that's wrong. And as an artist, you know, that's, you have to kind of be flexible on that. You can't go 100% in and just feel like you have to get something right on. Like at this point, I should have just kept it maybe to pink, like the hair. But I don't know. There's something that tells me that I should be experimenting with purple and green. I even introduced some green, which I control undo several times. But I just feel like creativity is really important. Experimentation is important. Um, yeah, on the flip side of things, as someone that has attempted to mentor teacher in getting the art style, the anime art style, the manga art style correct. See, I just use that word correct. In art, I don't really think there's no such thing as correct. It just feels good, like that's a thing that I'm leaning towards. Oh, look at that. When you zoom in, I love that when you zoom in, you can see the quality of the paper. Like I like this program a lot, and it's not really that expensive. If you're a student, you can get an educational discount. But anyways, there is no such thing as doing something correct, and I really do believe that people should, experiment and take chances whenever you're going to do something. But there's some people that just really get hung up on that detail, and I think that's what's that word? Detrimental. Like that's detrimental to your progress, not just as an artist, but as a human being. You should be flexible enough to experiment, to do something crazy or strange. But again, I was talking about the flip side. There is a way to draw anime and manga style so that it looks correct, quote unquote. Um, I'm a stickler for that because I was trained under people that actually did the manga style, for a living, professionals, and I was taught that there's a certain way to do the eyes, a certain way to do the highlights, a certain way to do the face, the nose, um, and so I understand that. But at the end of the day, you just have to go with what feels right, and there has to be a balance. But there are some people out there that they're they're more technical on the things that they do in terms of art. They're sticklers for precise techniques, and I'm not that type of person. There's nothing wrong with people like that, but I'm not that type of person, and it becomes harder and harder for me to get along with people that are just that's not how you do things, or that's not how hair is supposed to look, or that's not how the lighting would hit it. Um, that's it's that thinking is really good um, when it's a job, um, but art is also a passion for me. So I kind of have to be flexible, and it's really hard for me to talk and communicate with people that are really, that's not how it's supposed to be. Um, and obviously, as an artist, we're very we're sensitive to critique. So as artists, we really have to get better at critiquing each other's works and giving each other advice. Um, when you look at somebody's drawing and you see that there's something a little bit off, or something that you think could be improved, try not to say, that looks wrong, or, that's not how hair works. That's not how lighting works. That actually that hurts, um, because you while you were creating it, you were following an instinct. People are basically saying, your instinct is wrong. It's it's better to say, I would try this. And shit, it's even better to give a compliment before you do that. Because there must be something that you like about an art piece, and if you don't, why would you be critiquing about it? Like, if you don't like something, don't critique it. Step away. In order for I believe personally that whenever I critique someone's work, or whenever I have an opinion of it, it's because I have an investment in it. It's because I see value in it, and because I like it, and because I like the person. I don't want to hurt the person's feelings. Um, so I would say something, I don't know, a little bit more considerate. Um, but looking at the painting now, I think I look at all the darker spots, and I think it works really well. Um, if I were to do anything different with this drawing, um, I think maybe I would go even lighter in the end. I don't know if this speed paint or tutorial or whatever helped anybody, but I sure hope it did. And good luck to everybody. Keep drawing, and if you enjoyed this, hit the likes. I'd love to hear any comments that you all have, and keep drawing, peeps.